Hello everyone, how you doing? My name's Nick, and I'm the GPU enthusiast. And today we're going to look at this RTX 2070 by MSI that I bought off eBay for basically for salvage. It was categorized as DOA, which is dead on arrival, and I think you'll be quite surprised. I was definitely surprised when I got it. But yeah, let's get into it. So first things first, what do I think about the RTX 2070? I think overall it's a decent card. Um, it definitely has its drawbacks. Like if you're going to try any type of ray tracing, it's not really possible. I mean, you can theoretically do it, and everyone I think already knows this, but it's not recommended, as you'll see in some of the testing. We tested it in a couple of games, but it was not impressive at all. But for standard 1080p gaming, which is still somewhat the standard of today, it is still quite impressive in a lot of titles, and I think we're going to see that, especially from a card that I thought right off the rip was going to be dead and not working or worth a fix somehow. Um, my first initial surprise is that this thing worked right out of the box. Um, there were no issues with it, which was really confusing to me because it was, and again, I'll put up, my editor here put up the eBay listing. It's you see dead on arrival. It's that simple. Um, I mean, overall, it's a very sleek card. It is the model of the card is the MSI Armor RTX 2070. Um, but this thing really impressed me. Uh, like out of the box, just working. I thought we were gonna either run into some sort of heating issue or a dead capacitor or um, possibly some PCB damage because again, there was no description on this card on eBay. And for 45 bucks, I mean, it is a fully functioning card. There's no doubt about it. This card is fully functioning. It works fine. You can overclock it, which also impressed me. It works basically on every game. Um, and I don't think it's part of the card, but I had a trouble booting into Halo Infinite, and I'll see if I can get a recording of that. I don't think it's the card's fault. I think it has to do with the PC or just Halo Infinite being stupid, but every title I threw at this thing, it ran it pretty flawlessly and kind of what you'd expect for a 2070 if you would buy one brand new right now. This card holds temps, it does everything. Um, I'm definitely going to be reselling it. I don't know if I'm going to sell it on eBay or sell it to someone I know, but if I do sell it on eBay, I'll have the link in the description, and it will probably be the eBay listing will have this video. But yeah, let's look at the specs of this GPU and also get into some benchmarks and some games and see what frames we get. Quick look at the test bench here that we are going to be trying this GPU on. It's on an Intel Core i5 9600K, clocked at 3.70 gigahertz, on an MSI Z390A Pro board, and then two sticks of 8 gigabyte SK Hynix at 3200 megahertz for a total of 16 gigabytes, and obviously the graphics card itself, an MSI Armor RTX 2070. First game up is Asanzo, the Italian Front. A fun little game running on max graphics settings here, and you can see, I mean, it's running very smooth around 80 to 90 FPS, depending on where I am on the map. For a card that was supposed to be dead on arrival, it's very impressive. I will state that Asanzo is not very well optimized. I mean, it's not terribly optimized, don't get me wrong, but with my main computer that runs with a Ryzen 9 5900X and a RTX 4070, the game only gets like consistently 120 frames depending on where you are on the map. So Asanzo is not terribly optimized, but it's not greatly optimized. That's the word I'm looking for. Um, But I mean, again, like I said, very impressive for a card that was supposed to be dead on arrival. Everything just a buttery smooth gameplay. I enjoyed playing these little sections and testing out this card, and I mean, I had no problems with it. So I mean, that's about it for Asanzo. Next game on the list is Counter-Strike 2, running at max graphical settings. No FPS counter, sadly, on this one because Counter-Strike is just weird about overlays and stuff like that because of the anti-cheat. If you ever tried streaming Counter-Strike or Counter-Strike 2, it's a pain to get set up and get it working. Most of the time you have to run it in windowed, and I just didn't do it here because sometimes it does affect the performance. But I got around 160 to 200 frames consistently throughout the entire Dust 2 deathmatch. And for someone like me, I used to play a bunch of Counter-Strike back in the day. I mean, I would have been more than happy with this performance. Very consistent. Again, when you play an FPS like this, you don't normally run everything on ultra or high settings. So, I mean, game looked beautiful, ran beautifully, no stutters, no nothing. Very, very, very impressed. Here we got Warzone running at a pretty smooth 90 frames to 80 frames, running at recommended settings, so some things are high, some things are low. And I don't play a lot of Warzone, so I didn't record a lengthy clip here, but again, very playable experience. Now, Apex Legends. This ran very, very nicely. I don't know how the optimization of Apex has been lately. I haven't played it in a while. But I remember with my 1070 Ti, I used to have trouble running at consistent frames. It would always stutter. I don't know if that was just me and my PC at the time, but I never could get it to run buttery smooth. But I mean, as you can see here, I'm running it pretty consistently at 144 frames or 140 frames in that kind of bracket there. And it feels nice. It ran perfectly. And just, again, really, really enjoyable experience. Probably one of the more smooth experiences I've had in Apex Legends in a while. But yeah, that's Apex Legends. Next with Cyberpunk 2077, running at max settings, and I got someone around like 50 to 60 frames here in the city part at the beginning of the game. Ran really, really smooth too for, again, what I was expecting. I was expecting to run more in the 40s. But overall, like a very nice experience for Cyberpunk. This is without ray tracing, which is understandable. DLSS is on as well, as you can see by a little bit of the shaders loading in there. But overall, I mean, again, very smooth, highs of 80s, but mostly around the 60s. You're going to see the ray tracing clip here, and I mean, this was brutal, man. These 20 series cards cannot do ray tracing to save their lives. Like, we're stuck at 20 frames per second. And I mean, it was pretty common for these cards to not be able to run ray tracing. I mean, they really can't. They don't have the ability to. But it's just funny that they added that functionality. And there it is, guys. That's the review and the lack of a repair for the 2070 that decided to just work right out of the box. I mean, what can you say? I bought a GPU for 45 bucks that I thought it was broken that I'd have to fix, and it came out perfect out of the box. Like I said earlier in the video, I may or not sell it on eBay. I'm definitely selling it. I just don't know if I'm gonna end up selling it to someone I know. But definitely, I mean, if y'all are interested, you guys can leave comments, and we'll see. I mean, it's again a perfectly functioning card that you can use in a system. Again, I wouldn't get this thing for ray tracing. Please, for the love of God, do not do that. It is not a good card for that, as we just saw. But I mean, for 1080p gaming, this thing is a baller. I mean, if you run any CPU, I think within the last 5 to 6 years, maybe even farther back, this thing would crank out frames for you and definitely make things run very well. Overall, a very solid card. Very impressed, and I hope you all have a great day. Leave a like or comment. Um, Subscribe if you're interested for more content. And again, just thank you for the overall support if you are supporting this channel. And again, always comment. I love reading the comments and seeing if anyone's actually watching and interested in these things like I am. Um, yeah, but I hope you all have a great day.